Recording in progress. All right, there we go. All right, good evening, everybody. And I want to welcome everybody to the Rhinebeck Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for July 20th, 2022. And before I get going, I have to read some enabling language, which allows us to do this virtually. So let me do that. This meeting is being held virtually pursuant to New York State legislation S period 5001/A period 40001, which suspended certain provisions of the open meetings law to allow a municipal board to convene meetings during the current pandemic via video conferencing and or telephone conferencing. This authority to hold virtual meetings was recently extended pursuant to Executive Order 11.8 on July 14th, 2022, which continued the ability to conduct such virtual meetings until August 13th, 2022, unless otherwise extended. And just for everybody, we are not extended long enough for the next meeting in August, but I would be shocked if it wasn't extended. So, we will probably be virtual the next time around, maybe not, but we'll wait and see what happens from from the state. So just beware that we might be virtual again, we might be live. You just got to check. So anyway, looks like we have all of our board members. And did everybody have an opportunity to review the meeting minutes for the last meeting on June 15th, 2022?
Yeah.
Any questions, concerns, corrections? I didn't see any. Okay, not hearing any. I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes as drafted for June 15th, 2022. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, that's Tim Allenbrook. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, for the record, all of the board members voted in the affirmative, so the minutes are accepted. Okay, we have three matters on for new business, and the first one is it Monahan? I want to pronounce it correctly.
Hi, it's Monahan.
Monahan. Okay, good.
The G is silent.
That's what I thought, but I have a way of mispronouncing people's names, and I apologize up front for that. Okay, basically what I don't know if you've ever been through the process here. All we're doing is we're looking at the application right now to see if it is sufficient for us to accept it. And then if we accept an application, then we set it down for a public hearing, and the next public hearing will be August. Gretchen, what's the next meeting?
17th.
August 17th. So in the first instance, what we're doing is we're just going through the application. So if you can just kind of explain it to us, what you want to do, and we can take a look at it and see what's what.
Sure. So
Kim's going to put up. Yeah. Okay.
So what we're looking to do is, one, our family has grown. I have my 4-month-old here, so if he cries, I apologize. And we also oftentimes work from home, so we're looking for a little bit more space. So the original layout right now has the dining room on the bottom lower level in the basement. We're looking to pull that up into the kitchen, redo the kitchen. In order to do that, we're looking to expand into the back portion of our garage, and then expand the garage out the front to make that space in the back. So we would retain our attached garage, but what we're asking for is the variance because we're already pre-existing non-conforming of how our proximity is to the road. And then this garage would be accessory, so it would be coming out further than the face of the house. However, we would be turning the garage doors from being facing the road to being side loading. So the front of the house would all become uniform with windows, a covered front porch, and then the remaining part of the house there.
I see that you gave us a picture of the house as it exists now. Do you have a rendering? And I know you gave us plans and everything else. Do you have like a color type rendering showing what the house is going to look like once it's completed?
We do
Is
not.
that-
No,
that-
our
that-
architect didn't give us one of those.
Okay, that would be helpful to us. It just gives, I know you gave us the plans and that's helpful. But it's also nice just to see, kind of a color rendering of what the front, the back, the side, what it's going to look like when it's completed. It's just a better visual. So that's one of the things I usually
Yeah,
ask
can I
for.
How would we go about
yeah,
getting
can I
that?
ask a couple questions on that? A, does that hold up the process? B, that renders additional costs. Is already just we're adding onto our house in respective manner that it's going to only increase our footprint by 16 feet. Doing it economically to stay within the confines of our neighborhood. The way that we're moving our driveway, the side loading garage will be underneath this Q line, Central Hudson's Q line, 69 kV line. And what you see mostly with neighborhoods like this, where you move the driveway underneath the open wire conductors to get the best use of your premises. And incidentally, our neighbor across the street has the same situation that we'll be adopting, only just be opposite directions, so they kind of complement each other. So really kind of thought this out, and no offense, to add more time and money to this for a conceptual, I've never heard of such an ask. That's all I'm saying.
It's common. In fact, I ask every single time.
Yeah,
And it's very easy. It's very easy to do from what I understand. And it gives us a
How do
better
people do
idea.
it?
I
Just-
presume,
Just the way you've done a rendering of the house as it exists now, they would use the same kind of tools to do a rendering of each view. The four views of the house, and just have some color added in. It's
right.
So,
And it's
I
placed-
can ask the architect to do that. It's probably
Yeah.
going to cost us a couple $100 to do that.
at least. So,
Right.
whatever.
But it's- you
My
gotta
bigger
understand-
question is, does it hold up the process?
Well, it typically asking, when I ask for those kind of renderings, it is not, it doesn't hold up the thing, the application. But and if you stay on, you'll see in the next application, the kind of renderings we're talking about. And it shows the new structure placed on.
I can
the
I can
property.
understand what you're talking about.
I get what you're
I
asking
get what
for.
you're asking for. It's just, it seems, for a minimal amount of work we're doing here, most of it's inside the house already as it exists. Really, it just seems extenuating.
Well, what we
Small-
have to do. we
The majority of this is within our footprint.
Scott, Tim Allenbrook here.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know if it's enough, but drawing number Z1 that was in the package, that has elevations of 3 sides.
I see that.
Can
And
you,
I'm
what
wondering
page
if
is
a
that?
little judicious application of color might make that accomplish what you're looking for.
Yeah, I
What
mean, I
we're
gotta
looking
tell you,
for.
in doing this for almost 20 years, this is the first time I've heard somebody, and I'm not trying to give you a hard time.
Yeah, I guess.
Complain about
my
doing
piece-
this because,
I guess my piece, I get it. I'm from here. I understand it, but I just, I don't really grasp that. I mean, we
well,
went through and worked with somebody, and we pretty much thought we provided everything we need. We did
you,
it. So many
you
different
did,
copies, so many different sizes. It's just,
you
it's,
provided a lot.
it's a bit, annoying. That's all.
Well, you did provide a lot, but we got to look at these applications and we have to have, we have to feel comfortable with how this is going to appear afterwards, because there are 5 factors that we have to go through to grant a variance. A variance is, we're going against the law, so to speak. The law says, whether you agree with it or not, the law says this is what you're allowed to do. You're asking to do something different. Quite frankly, most of the time we do grant variances because most of the time they make sense. However, in order to say, all right, we're going to give you a variance from the law, we have to go through what are 5 factors. And part of the 5 factors is actually seeing what the structure looks like. And is it going to be in harmony with the neighborhood and what it looks like and that kind of stuff. So I ask for this all the time. It's never an issue, and it's important for us because just conceptually being able to see something. And again, if you stay on for the next application, you'll see what we're talking about. All right, so that would be my request. And it typically, I don't hold up, we don't quote unquote, hold up an application for that. We just ask that it be provided before the next meeting.
Okay.
I appreciate
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
So-
so Scott, just to kind of go in on what you were saying, the ZBA typically meets once a month. So then as Gretchen indicated, the next meeting is going to be August 17th. So, you know, as long as you can get us those renderings before the next meeting, typically 2 weeks before the next meeting, it will keep proceeding on schedule.
Now, we did have, and I reviewed this,
Thank
by the way, this is all volunteer, just to let you know. So, you know, we don't do this for money, or we just do this because, you know, we're doing it as a public service. So I just want you to know this. We're not trying to give you a hard time and whatever, but the other thing that before the meeting, I typically meet with our counsel, Kim Garrison, and we did have a question, and potentially we're going to need some more information about the Central Hudson. I don't know if it's an easement. I presume it's an easement that's shown on the property, because a portion of the new structure, it looks like it'll go into the easement. And
You're
I don't know
spot
if you
on,
have any
good eye.
information on that.
We have a leasing with the
Yeah, we-
Central Hudson already. They've approved
Yeah,
this.
we've secured that. That was actually went rather quickly.
Central Hudson's already given us the permission to do it, and we
And-
have the
And
leasing.
you are,
I think.
and you are
Okay.
correct. It's an easement.
That would be, could you send that to us? Because that's very helpful as well, because just
Yes.
looking at the plan, and I typically, you know, it's just an easement to, you know, go and cut down vegetation and all that kind of stuff. I don't know exactly what is shown on the screen, but if you have something from Central Hudson giving the blessing, that's wonderful.
We do. We got it after we had submitted everything else. It came in about a
Okay.
week or two later.
Yeah, so Scott, what I'm showing here, this is a survey that they provided. This just kind of shows what their existing house is, and you see the dotted line, that says that it's Central Hudson. As Scott indicated, I wasn't sure exactly if it was an easement or fee ownership. And then if you look at the new proposal, let me just zoom in here. You'll just see that, you know, part of the garage kind of extends into there, and the driveway goes into there. So it's great that you spoke to Central Hudson. It will be really helpful for us to just have that for the file and the record.
Sure.
All right, and just to give further clarity, what you're looking at there, the solid line down the middle is the represents the open wire conductors, and then the dotted lines on either side represents the 100-foot wide span of their easement. So really for the transmission, sub-transmission line. So, but yeah, so that's been secured and went pretty fast.
No,
actually.
that's wonderful, because that's something that we would have, we would need. And since you have it, you just have to submit it. And you can just give it to Gretchen. So that's great.
Do you need
Thanks, understood.
8 copies of that or just one on file?
I think just one to Gretchen, and then she can distribute it to the rest of the gang.
Okay.
Gretchen, do you need anything more, or
No, just an electronic copy is fine as well.
I have to get back. We had notarized and mail it back, so we're just waiting for the copies back. So
okay, whatever, but you got it, and that's good.
Yep.
So those were the only 2 things that I saw. I'll open it up to the rest of the gang.
Could I just clarify, Kim, could you go
Oh.
back to the one that showed the elevations?
Yes, hold on. This elevation or the second page?
The second page. So these are the proposed new elevations, right?
Correct.
So Scott, are you okay with them, since they have 3 sides, are you okay with them adding color and providing the 4th side?
Yeah, I mean, really what I want to see is what we typically see, and that is how it sits on the property, how it's going to change, like the visuals. You know, as I said, if you look at the next packet, you'll kind of see what it sounds like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But it just-
that's not a problem.
yeah, no.
We don't have the 4th side because the 4th side's not changing at all.
Yeah.
So they didn't, the architect didn't touch the 4th side. That's the split level side that you see on the left here.
Right.
And nothing of that structure is changing.
No,
It's
right.
completely on the right-hand side. And actually, if you're looking at the top left here, that's the back of the house. Nothing of that is changing. The top right would actually be the side of the house.
Right.
And that's where the garage is flipping to be 90 degrees, so it's
Right.
side loading.
So, I
And
mean,
You can see the front of the house just underneath it.
yeah, and so just the areas that are gonna change.
Okay, yeah, so the
Would-
fourth side is not changing whatsoever.
So,
And kind of one question I had, I guess when we entered into the application, we kind of posed it as a question, is that, you know, the one variance is having you know, initial part of the house being an accessory structure, but it's really not. If you see that picture as it's rendered there on the right down the middle, that's what the front of the house is going to look like. It's going to blend in. The garage will be side loading, so it's not really an accessory structure. It's tied into the house so it flows. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you, but I will tell you the interpretation, I've been on the board since 2003, is that for some reason they consider the garage, even if it's attached, to be an accessory structure. I do not know why, but that is the interpretation. And I'm
yeah,
not
Scott,
saying I agree with it, but that's
No,
the
no,
way
no,
it is.
I know,
Yeah.
we know, we're just saying as far as the consideration for the variance, we're
Yeah,
actually making it so that it no longer looks like from the front of the house, a garage.
right.
And that we just want to emphasize that we are taking that, what would be perceived as an accessory structure visually from the front and turning it so that it won't look like an accessory structure from the front.
so just to clarify on the image that we're looking at, number one, that's going to be what it looks like from the road, right?
No,
No.
that's the back of the
That's the-
house.
That's the
Right.
back.
Okay,
That's
that's
facing
the
our
back.
backyard.
Okay, so this is the back. So then two that's going to be what it looks like from the side.
The side, and that is that side
This
of the
is-
house. That is
And
the
that's
right
where
side
the
of the back.
garage is going to be, on the side loading, you said.
Correct.
Okay, and then number four, is that this is for, that's
That's-
gonna be the front?
That will be what the front now then looks like, removing the garage door from the front. It's not showing the last part because the last part's not changing at all.
Right. And then this is the new, number three is the new proposed layout.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then on sheet one, this is the existing, these are the existing renderings.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
The back of the
One-
house on the left.
One is the
front of
back
house.
and then two is the front.
Yes.
Okay.
Kim, can you go back to that last screen?
Is this right, Tim?
Yeah. Is the roof line changing? I see dotted lines going past, by the garage door. Is that,
Yes.
or is that?
So the roof line, so if you look at the rendering 2, you're
Yeah.
seeing those dotted lines. That is
Yeah.
where the extension of the garage will come out. That
Okay.
the current roof line ends and then we're gonna extend it out with a reverse gable. And you can see that on rendering 4, from the front view, that
Oh, I see.
peak doesn't exist currently. It's just a
Okay.
flat roof. And
Yep.
that peak will be created, and actually with the same angle that the right side of the house already has.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns, board members? Nope. Okay, I think there's enough there to accept the application, and I would make a motion that we accept the application, subject to receiving the additional pieces of information that we've discussed. And do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any against? Any abstentions? Okay, let the record reflect that all 5 board members have voted in the affirmative. I guess I should have asked you, August 17th, is that a date you can make?
Yeah, we're actually on vacation, but yes, we can make it.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll probably be virtual anyway, so.
That's
um,
That works.
All right,
Thank you for your patience with the newcomers.
not a problem, but, and it's not a lot of information, but we really do need it. So, especially that Central Hudson piece and the rendering. So
Sure.
thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's see. So there's a couple pieces of housekeeping with regard to this application. Kim, you recommend that this is a type 2 action under seeker, and that sounds
Yes.
right.
Yep, so they need 2 area variances. as defined in Rhinebeck, an accessory structure does include garage, and it does include whether it's attached or detached, as you explained. So they need a variance from having the garage closer to the fronting street than their current principal house. And then they also need, in that same section, it says that the accessory structure can't be sited closer to the street or within the front setback. As they've mentioned, it is an existing house that is currently in the setback at 70 feet. But because they are extending it, they also need a setback for that as well. So I recommend a type 2 granting of an area variance for a single family residence. That's
Okay, so I will make,
17.5 C17.
okay, so I'll make a formal motion that we consider this to be a type 2 action under 617.5 C17. Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let the record reflect, all board members have voted in the affirmative. We have some referrals. It's just to the planning board,
Yes, the town planning board, yes.
town planning board, yes. All right, and Gretchen, you'll take care of that. Who would like to do the resolution?
I'll do it.
Okay, we have Tim Allenbrook. Great. Kim, did I miss anything?
No, I think you're good.
Okay. So. It's on to the second application, and that's the Dakota's application for placement of a pool. Is that Annie, that's you?
Yes, that is myself. Hi, I'm Annie Dakotas, and this is my husband, Paul Dakotas. Thank you.
Hi,
guys
how
so
are you
much.
guys? You
You're
saw
good.
what the process is. It's really just, your application, is pretty complete. Really just take us through. It's a very simple application, but just take us through it anyway. Part of the reason we do this again is to see if the application is complete, but also to let the public know. I don't want to say what you're up to, because that's just not the way to say it, but what you want to do.
Sure.
Well, thank you all so much for jumping on here and considering our application. We are here requesting a side variance for an in-ground pool that we are looking to install in our backyard. You'll see here on the survey that our surveyor did for us, the placement of the pool that we're looking to be. 3 of the sides are within the setback requirements, but the 4th side, as you'll see on the back property line, is not. So we are requesting a variance for there. The placement of the pool that where we're putting it here really was designed for a number of different reasons. Visually, it will look appealing to the home. And then if we were to move it within the setback requirement lines, we really would need to do a big number of excavating with removals of trees, rocks, completely redoing the driveway, a lot of the beautiful landscaping and the lush scenery that's already in the background of our backyard. So we really thought that this was the most strategic and nice place to kind of place the pool, to have a flow. There'll be no visual change to the neighborhood, because no one will be able to see this from any of our neighbors that are in the surrounding areas.
And I appreciate, so those are the actual photographs of the backyard.
Yeah,
right now.
so I tried to give you every angle you could possibly have so that you really got the look and feel of what our backyard looks like. This is like the direct back area of where the pool would be. You'll see to the right where the trees are, it kind of slopes up. So there's a lot of rock there. There's existing trees. We don't want to be removing any more trees than needed. There's just that wide open space right now there where we're trying to put the pool. The left side you'll see also has all of the number of trees as well as our swing set. And so we're trying to go with the flow of the backyard and have as minimal impact as possible.
Okay, and I think you also supplied some renderings of the full placement, what it's going to look like. Okay, that's.
Yeah, so it's going to be a 20 by 40 in-ground pool. We're gonna have 4 feet of bluestone around 3 of the sides, and then 10 feet of bluestone on the left side of the pool to give an area for lounge chairs, a little bit more space. And then we're gonna have a 4-foot high black aluminum fence surrounding immediately around the pool. We also have small children, so we want to make sure that safety factors play into this. So making sure that there's a barrier between the house and the pool was really important to us. There's also going to be an automatic cover that's installed to adhere to additional safety measures. The coloring of the cover is going to be this dark forest green, so it's really going to blend in with the scenery. The blues are going to blend in as well. We already have black kind of railings that go around the porch that you can see here on this rendering. So the aluminum fencing is going to really tie in nicely with the existing home features. We're trying to make this as simple and seamless as possible. We'll kind of install some big bushes on the back side to just really make it feel like you're still flowing within the backyard how it currently is.
Are there any neighbors behind the trees in the back, either directly in back or on the right or left side?
So directly behind us where we are seeking the side variance, this neighbor has 16.4 acres. The house is over 500 feet away, so it's very, very difficult to see the house from our home. Maybe a tiny bit during the winter, you can flicker a light if you're really looking for it, but in the summertime, there is absolutely no visual sight line between our house and theirs.
And one thing to mention too is just that the trees and things behind our house are quite dense too, and the property next to us is also a little bit further downhill and behind a part of the landscaping in the hills that are in our side too, so it makes it a little bit harder to see.
Okay, and we always come out and do site visits, so we'll be out there to get the lay of the land, but it was just a question that popped up.
Yeah,
Sure.
we already have the pool staked out, so
Great.
we're also staking out the fence just so you could get the real look and feel for sizing and just a great visual. So we welcome whenever you have time to come over to check it out, to just see for yourself.
Typically, what I do is, and this is just my own procedure, is I like to do the site visit after the public hearing, because I want to hear what the public, if any, has to say about it before I go out there. But that's just the way I do it. Not all of the members are going to go out, but some of us will. So,
Okay.
I assume we just contact you guys to make arrangements.
Yeah. We
We're-
both work from home the majority of the time, so we're very flexible on schedules and whatnot.
Yeah, we're here almost all the time.
Okay. I don't have any questions or concerns but how about the rest of the gang?
No, I don't have any questions. It's very complete. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, it looks pretty cut and dry. I only wish the pool was in this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Us too. We hadn't realized it. We started to get things going, but then we realized that there was an issue with the variance, so we wanted to be complete.
And by the way, I appreciate you guys staking it out, because that's one of the things I also usually ask for. And so I'm glad you already have that done. All right, well, not hearing any further questions, concerns, et cetera, I'll make a motion that we accept this application. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, that's Richard. All in favor? Aye. Okay, let the record
Aye.
reflect that all 5 board members have voted in the affirmative. Can you make the next meeting of August 17th, 2022?
Yes.
Okay, it'll probably be virtual, but you got to check. We could be, I guess, in the village hall.
Okay.
I'm told, depending on what happens. You don't need to provide us with anything more. It's complete. And I guess we'll just see you either virtually or in the flesh on August 17th.
Okay, great.
Wonderful.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for your time.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Okay, I got to get my cheat sheet, Kim.
Okay.
I'm sure it's a type 2.
Yeah, pretty much the same
Yeah.
rationale as the last one. So, they are just going for a side variance.
Right.
So I would recommend it's a type 2 action under 617.5C16, which is granting of an individual setback or lot line variance.
Okay, that sounds right. So I'll make a motion that we, hold on just a moment. Here we go. I know I find it. All right, I'd make a motion that we consider this application to be a type 2 action under 617.5C16. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Catherine. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let the record reflect. All of the board members have voted in the affirmative. And then we have referrals to the town planning board and also the WAC.
Yeah, it's located within the LWRP, so
Okay.
it should be referred to them as well.
All right. And who would like to do this application?
I'll take it.
Oh,
Richard? Okay,
okay,
Who's taking it?
Richard,
Richard.
Okay. Hopefully,
you had your hand up first.
Catherine will help me a little bit.
I will,
You.
I will. They're
you-
actually, I didn't see any issue with this, but they actually border our property.
Okay.
There's a
But-
little, there's a little sliver at the very north edge of their property.
By the way, one thing that came to mind, and I apologize for going back to the first application, but I didn't ask for staking on that, and they are moving the out from where the garage is.
Yeah, perhaps Gretchen can reach out to them and just after
I
the
would ask.
meeting tomorrow, and then just ask if they could just stake it out just for the site visit.
Yeah, I'll email them.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
apologize. That's one of my, I always do that and I just forgot.
So Catherine, to your point, I don't see any conflict of interest. It's up to you if you feel comfortable, but
No, I just, when I realized they were on Kindon Lane, I thought, oh yeah, they probably border our property, which they do. It's just, I don't see any problem with it at all.
okay.
All right, so next is it Benjamin? Oh, you're muted, Mark.
Venjamar.
Benjamin, okay. I reviewed the application and I have some misgivings about being on this application, and the reason for that is this. I live about 3 or 4 doors down on a Peacock Road from where one of the proposed entrances, driveways is.
Okay,
So I didn't feel right being on it, so I'm going to recuse myself, and in my stead, Catherine is going to take over. So for the record, I'm recusing myself because I live on Peacock Road, 22 Peacock Road, which is just down the street from where this applicant proposes to have one of the driveways.
okay.
Okay, so Catherine, take it away.
Okay, so one of the questions, we had a little bit of discussion about this earlier, Mark, and one of the questions is, it doesn't seem that we have a letter from either the zoning officer or a referral from the planning board.
So the zoning administrator has, he does have a determination letter. I apologize for not getting that to you. But there was a determination denial letter that was issued for this.
Okay,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't included. Can you send us a copy when you can?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
okay, so then I think, Kim, that lets us go ahead and review this.
Yeah, I was just worried because, Mark, as you know, the ZBA is only appellate, so I thought this might have been premature, but if there is one, we can proceed. I do see, Mark, that you sent me an email with the maps. I can't really get them right now, just
Okay,
because I'm the host and recording. Do you
okay.
have them? I can make you host if you want to share. Or well, I don't know, does that disrupt the recording?
No, that's fine. I'll just ask Seth to help me do that for sharing. And the only reason, and I, apologize that, I included, there were 2 maps that I included with the applicant, in the transmittal letter. And only one of them is, obviously the site plan's included and also with the digital submission. But then I prepared a figure that actually showed the section of Peacock Road with the, it's an aerial overlay, and it shows the residential structures, the houses, the residences that are accessing Peacock Road. Because the purpose of this application and reason for submitting to the Town of Rhinebeck ZBA is there's a section of the subdivision regulations that limits the number of access points from a cul-de-sac road, and that the number of access points is 12. And so there's currently 14 driveways that are accessing Peacock Road. And the thrust of this application is it will actually have frontage on, it's a minor subdivision application. There's an existing residence on the property. Kim, is it possible for you to bring up?
Yeah, I'm actually just doing a bit of I'm downloading them now. So I'm just doing, because because I'm recording, I don't know if I can make you host without losing that ability, and I don't want to, for open meetings law, we have to recording. So just bear with me. So which one would you like me to open?
The one, actually, so if we could start with the actual subdivision map, site plan.
Is that the area variance figure or the 893A?
Well, neither of those. It would be it would be the one that was submitted with the application that you should have had a copy. It was my site plan.
Yeah, that wasn't included in the electronic copy. Can you resend that by any chance?
Should be. Yeah, I sent that. Hang on. Apologies. Oh. Let's see. There it is. I just sent it.
Okay. To my email?
Yes.
Okay. I'll put it up as soon as it comes through. I do have an aerial map. I don't know if that would be helpful, or if you would like to just wait until the.
If we could have the subdivision plan.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. Let's see. So okay, I'm just going to download these. One second, sorry. Okay. Let me find it on my share screen. There you
are.
Okay.
Okay. So, the darker boundary lines represent the entire property that's being considered as part of this application. And so this lot was about a year ago was created by a subdivision for the property to the west of it. And so what was created was a 12.8 12.267 acre piece of property that included an existing residence, a barn. There was access to, access was from New York State Route 308. And then also, if you look to the northeast corner of the property on this map, you'll see the cul-de-sac for Peacock Road is located at the northeast corner of the property. And so there's actually, and so when the subdivision that created Peacock Road was done, it actually extended all the way to the northerly boundary of this property, or southerly boundary of the lots that were subdivided, in the event that there was ever further subdivision. And so the thrust of this application is to create two parcels. And so one of the parcels will be, it's exactly 6 acres, and it will and it provides adequate area and meets all the zoning requirements for creation of that property. And then the balance of the property is going to be for construction of a new residence. And so Mr. Vingemar wants to, he's going to sell the property with the existing residence and build a house, on the lot that is created to the west and to the north. And so access would be, there's 2 potential points of access, right? So you can either access from New York State 308, or you can, because this property has legal frontage at the end of Peacock Road, access is possible from Peacock Road. And so before coming in front of this board, had a pre-application meeting with the town planning board to discuss this. And they were in favor of it for, for an obvious reason is, you can see for, accessing a proposed house site, so you can keep some distance and privacy between, the 2 homes being created by this subdivision. From Route 308, it traverses quite a bit of the property and impacts, a good section of the property with construction of a driveway. You'd also have to have a common driveway easement and maintenance agreement to go through, the lot with the existing residents, and then have that driveway go to the north to a new home site. The other alternative being presented is, access from the end of Peacock Road. And so you can see just by this site plan that it's a much shorter access. What this also takes into consideration is, existing vegetation and screening, and it's just, from an environmental standpoint and land impact, it's much less impact on the property. So how I started this presentation to this board was that the application was, to a certain section of the subdivision regulations for the town of Rhinebeck. And so that section limits the number of residential access driveways you can have off of a cul-de-sac. And so, Kim, if you could bring up figure 1, please.
Is that, okay.
Right. So what I did here was I prepared a plan with an aerial photo overlay that shows, so on the bottom of it, or the southerly end of this drawing, that's the cul-de-sac for Peacock Road. And so then you can see where I show the potential driveway access, to Mr. Vingemar's proposed residence from the end of that cul-de-sac. And then what I did is I provided numbering on this figure in order to demonstrate the well, actually not to demonstrate, to show the existing residences that were accessing Peacock Road from its point, which would be considered a cul-de-sac, because there's a loop road to the north that you can see on this plan. So there's 14 residents that exist right now that access the road. So I mentioned that, had a discussion with the planning board, and so there's this, a simultaneous application going to the planning board for this. As I mentioned in the pre-app, it was, in the pre-app, it was well received and seemed to make sense in order to consider this and proceed with the application to the ZBA. I've also been in touch with the highway superintendent to discuss it, and highway superintendent does not have any issues with having another driveway access. We just need to be able to provide, since it's a cul-de-sac and during the winter months, just need to provide, enough room for him to be able to push snow around in that cul-de-sac. And so that's the sole reason for being in front of this board this evening, is for consideration of another access point from the end of Peacock Road, which would make it 15. And then once again, the subdivision regulation or subdivision code only allows 12. I note it's already, there's already 14, so it's already in excess of what's allowed. And so so that is the request to, it's preferred. Certainly, if it's not successful, application with this board would move forward with, a common driveway access point from Route 308, but it's certainly preferred to go this way.
So Mark, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How did it get from 12 to 14 if that's not permitted by the subdivision regulations? Was it grandfathered in? Was there already a variance?
So this subdivision was done several years ago, Kim. So I can only assume that when the town, so I didn't go back to look at the dating of the subdivision regulations. I know the new code was, I think new zoning code was developed in 2010, right?
2009, and then
Yeah.
a few amendments in 2015, but 2009 was the big change.
Right, and so I think this subdivision might have been in the 90s. Scott could always correct me on that, or I could.
Yeah, I'll unrecuse myself for the moment. It was 1988, I believe, was the
Yeah.
original subdivision.
Yeah, so.
Because I did look a little bit, I do apologize that I didn't have these maps when I was reviewing your application, but I did kind of go on to Dutchess Parcel Access. I looked at a few of the maps. It looks like the original, do you have a copy of the original subdivision approvals? Because it looks like the section with all the flag lots was actually in 1988, it was originally one lot. I think it was
Right, yeah, it was re-subdivided because there's subsequent subdivision maps for that area to on the southwest portion, yeah,
Okay.
yes.
And do you know when that was like re-subdivided? Was that more recently, or?
I actually, hang on a second, because I pulled, on one of those subdivision maps. It was done in, actually, the one creating that lot, I have it, was filed in, filed 10/26/1990.
I have a question. Kim, did you have other questions?
You can ask I do have a few questions, but you can ask yours.
Okay, I think that you mentioned, Mark, that this lot, the northern end of this lot closest to Peacock Lane or Road, whichever it is, had legal frontage. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, if you actually, if you, Kim, if you go back to my subdivision map, and if you zoom in to where the cul-de-sac is, just pan to the, yeah, there you go. So Catherine, if you take a look at that, notice, so the property lines, which are double dashed, the darker ones represent the boundary for Vinjamon. So
Right.
then when you look to the north of that and you see where the proposed driveway is, take a
Right.
look, so those lighter double dash lines represent the town right of way for Peacock. So you can
Ah.
see, right? And so there it provides frontage.
Well, that's interesting.
So Peacock
So-
Road is a town road? Sorry,
Yes, it
Catherine.
is. Yeah, Peacock Road is a dedicated town highway.
Okay, so because the town frontage, so the other two property lines are actually those, dash and then solid line, right?
Yes, it's yeah. So, and I can clarify that, but that's so if you were to trace around that, you'd go around on the where Kim has the hand,
Right.
right? So starting at, so that would be I guess for the right of way of Peacock, that would be its southeasterly corner. And then as you go to the west, right there, so there's the southwesterly corner. And then if you move north from there, it goes around the cul-de-sac and then continues up to the north, right? So that's what was deeded to the town of Rhinebeck.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, let me see. In Plan B, could you, Kim, move it just so I could see the other end of this lot? If for whatever reason we do not grant a variance, yeah, if you could zoom in to kind of the lower part of that. So when you said that if you had to do Plan B, that you would do the joined driveway, why wouldn't the driveway go all the way down the flag lot? Would that still be a flag lot even if the variance is granted?
Good question, right? So if the variance is granted, I think the applicant is willing to remove that frontage to Route 308. The reason that I kept it, and the reason that the driveway is located in a different, the proposed entrance is in a different location, is there's multiple reasons. One, that's the location of the existing driveway, and so it's a state highway, and
Oh, so you already have access there.
there's access there. That is the best location for sightline for access. And then if you look where the flag portion of it is, you see all the contours. That's a big chunk of rock there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just to the to the southwest of Violet Hill Road.
Yeah, until it was enlarged, I couldn't see the contours very well, so.
Right, so that's its reason. And so once again, since there's applications are running parallel between the two boards, if the area variance is granted, the applicant is willing to eliminate access to Route 308.
Okay, Kim, go back to whatever questions you had. I think those were the main ones that I had.
Oh, yeah. So one question I had, Mark, which you kind of did address, but so you said that this was for the Peacock Road subdivision from the 80s, 88.
Yes.
You don't happen to have like that approvals or anything like that. I just worried like if there was like some sort of condition from the board that discussed Peacock Road or something to that effect.
No, I could, Kim, I can go and I can go to town hall and see if I can uncover those, uncover the resolution for that through the archives.
Okay, yeah, if that, just to make sure that there's not sort of some sort of map note or condition that should be causing issues with moving forward on that proposal.
Okay.
And while, do you said that this lot was already as part of a subdivision last year? Was there anything that prevented it from being subdivided again? I know some towns, I haven't looked at the subdivision regulations carefully in a little bit, so I admit that I have to refresh myself. I know sometimes you can't kind of like do a re-subdivision of a subdivision.
No, there was, and so I actually included, so the other item that I had in my cover letter was a copy of that recent subdivision
Okay,
that I sent you. And so, and I'll resend everything. Apologies. I don't know how I let this out without those drawings included in there. I was just rushing to get it out. So apologies on that. But
no problem.
in that, I did include a copy of the subdivision map. So
Okay.
it's actually file map 8141B. And so there is a copy of that.
Okay.
So Mark,
Yes.
did you say that the lot as is part of a different subdivision, not the Peacock Road subdivision?
Yes, it was. So Catherine, it was part of a subdivision to the south.
Okay,
Right, that actually, and so on this particular, so if you're the map that Kim has up now, if you look at the northeast corner, all right, right by Peacock Road, and so you see that straight line that heads to the south, right? Yeah, and actually there's two courses there, but they're so close, we'll just call it one line. That she's just got the hand on there. It's that line. If you extend that line all the way to the south to Route 308, that's the former boundary of this property. And so when the property to the west was being done by, I guess it's Giuliano, my client purchased, what you see as our new westerly boundary. So that was purchased when there was, it was part of a lot line alteration subdivision by Giuliani. So, and that's what occurred in, it was on 8/25/20. So actually it was closer to 2 years ago that it occurred.
Oh, is this it, Mark? This 8930? Do you want me to pull that up?
8930A. Yes.
Is it?
That's it right there. So that's how, if you look at the small portion on the right side of the map, that's the parcel that is that's in front of you now.
can we, I'm having trouble. I've done something to my screen and I'm not quite sure exactly what I've done. And I can't seem to get it to go back big enough for me to actually see this very well.
You want me to, I can maybe stop the share and then reshare it. Maybe that will reset it for you, Catherine.
Maybe.
All right, hold on 1 second.
Oh, okay. Well, that did something. So
It should have taken it off. I'm going to reshare it.
okay, great. Thank you. Oh, good. Okay, thank you. So when was this lot created, Mark?
So it was on 8/25/20.
Oh, okay. That little piece of access to Peacock Road is very strange to me. I think you may have indicated that there was some kind of planning when that was done, that this might occur.
It's not uncommon when there's a subdivision done, as you know, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, when there were, quite a bit of the land was being subdivided, that if a parcel being subdivided abutted, a larger vacant parcel, that there was a provision for connection of a through road. And in this case, it would have been a through road to Route 308 and further subdivision of the property to the south. So it's not uncommon to have, from a cul-de-sac, to have, town dedication all the way to the boundary of an adjoining property. So there could be, further connection from that road.
I
So that-
see. I see.
It doesn't occur, you don't see it as often now, just because most of the larger parcels have already been subdivided, or they're not going to be subdivided. And you typically don't see, major subdivisions anymore with multiple lots. It's all, smaller lot subdivisions with access that doesn't require construction of, a town or village dedicated road.
Okay. All right. I think I finally kind of have a good picture of this. Are there any other questions from other members of the board?
So, I mean, was it stated that it's pretty common to have a road to a new subdivision coming out of an existing subdivision? Is that what Mark just said?
I wouldn't say it was common. I'm just saying that in this particular case, that's why, because it was a large parcel being subdivided, and there was a parcel that adjoined it. It wasn't uncommon for the planning board to require dedication all the way to that adjoining parcel so that there could be access. I guess
So,
the key on this is that, it's frontage on a town highway.
so there are examples of this in Rhinebeck already.
I'm assuming there are, and I can take a look. I can look at some of the other subdivisions that were done in Rhinebeck.
But this adjoining lot to the south was not part of the original subdivision.
No, it wasn't.
So I have a question, and so the timeline we have is that, well, the original was for 12 accesses onto that cul-de-sac.
Mhm.
And then it changed to 14. Was that a legal thing to do at that point?
Well, those subdivisions were approved by the planning board.
By the planning?
So, yeah, so I think what Mark, that was one of my questions, Richard, was how did it get from 12 to 14? I'm just speaking, I don't know but it sounds like it's unclear when the subdivision regulations changed without further looking. So it's very possible that in the 1980s and the 1990s, perhaps there wasn't that restriction. I'm not sure without having the ability to see what was originally there. But so it's possible that when the subdivision was created, there might not have been a limitations to 12 or 14.
Mhm.
Or that's why I'm curious if Mark is able to produce the original subdivision approvals, we can kind of maybe see what was approved and what was legal perhaps at the time.
So,
And that would be, if he was going to do that investigation, Kim, that would be the original 1988 subdivision and then the redivision in 1990 would both be relevant, right?
I mean, I would be interested to know, just to make sure that there wasn't like a variance missing, just because it's a little hard. I wouldn't want to put that onerous on the applicant to have to, go from 12 to 15 when it's really he's only asking for one. But, any information you have on the history of the subdivision, Mark, would be helpful.
Sure, I will. So I will go to town hall and see what I can find in records for the subdivision and for both.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I had said that is that depending on when that rule was changed, the subdivision 90 might have required a variance that might have stated there couldn't be any further,
Mhm.
access or something.
Okay,
So that's why I was asking about it.
Yeah,
Not,
that's a
not
good point,
just-
Catherine.
not just to be bothersome.
No, that's what I'm curious about too, just to make sure there's not some sort of condition that, I understand what Mark is saying, that it's dedicated to the town road, but I want to make sure that there isn't any condition that would prevent further access points from Peacock Road.
Well, my next question is that this would this become part of that subdivision of the cul-de-sac?
It wouldn't become part of the subdivision because it's not, but if Peacock is a town road, it potentially could just become an extension of it. It's not part of the subdivision because the subdivision only included, the subdivision is for the creation of the lots, not the
Yeah.
creation of the road. Even though the road is part of the subdivision is really creating the lot. So the lot isn't, the creation of this subdivision is not part of the creation of the Peacock Road subdivision. Because the approvals
Because they must have-
for the
they must have
lots are
had-
for the lots.
They must have had a site plan, correct? And the planning board did a.
Well,
site
there's
review?
certainly, I actually, I haven't looked at all of them, but there's like 10 or so re-subdivision maps filed with the court, the county clerk on this. I think it goes to, I don't know, like J or I or something. Because every time you do, so you have your I think it's 8141. I think it's the original filed map for the Peacock Road subdivision. I don't know if that's really what it's called. That's just what I'm referring to it as. And then every time there's a change to it or an amendment, typically it's added like 8141A or 8141B. So, and Mark can correct me because he's more familiar with this. But anyway, I did a quick look yesterday on the county clerk's website to get a better understanding of Peacock Road, and I think it went to like I or something. So there's been a lot of changes made so far already.
and
But
so
those changes go through a site plan review?
They should, yeah. Oh,
well,
good.
Why are we even looking at this if this would be part of the site plan, no? For Peacock Lane?
Well, the reason it's in front of here, so we're not looking at it as a subdivision or a site plan, but the current subdivision regulations say that if you have a cul-de-sac road, which is Peacock Road, you're only allowed 12 driveway accesses off of there.
Right.
So there's currently 14 driveways. So it's already exceeding what was in there, which is the question if there was, how that was done.
Yeah, but my question is that because this is going to be coming off Peacock Lane, and we're thinking that it's already over, wouldn't that be a site plan review?
Well, it wouldn't, it will be, so they're going to be doing a subdivision, which part of the subdivision will be including somewhat of a site plan review. But the question is, can there be 15 access points
Right.
off of
Yeah.
Peacock Road? That's the question for us.
So there is, so Tim, there is an application, it's a concurrent application with the planning board. It's for subdivision, and actually it's for subdivision and site plan. It's the reason for site plan is this is considered a conventional subdivision. And so the town planning board requires both applications be submitted to them for their review. So planning board is getting a look at this.
Okay.
And then also I just want to note with regard, since this is, a filed subdivision map, and Kim noted that there were multiple changes.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily to lot configuration changes or additional lots, because part of this approval, original approval, included locations for wells and septic systems.
Yep.
So anytime, and so I actually just did a project in here where it required, relocation of the well and septic. And so the health department requires that that be filed in the county clerk's office, so it's a record. And so all it is a change of location for water and sewer facilities.
Mhm.
So that doesn't have to go in front of the town for site plan review. It's the filing of it is required by the health department.
So just to make, and I'm sorry to go back over this, but just for my own clarity, the Peacock Road subdivision was originally done in 1988. Then in 1990, the lower western, I think, if I'm oriented properly, some of those lots were again subdivided, and that's how we got to 14 access points on that. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay, and then a separate subdivision, totally unassociated with Peacock Road, was done with the property to the south of that and resulted in this little over 12-acre lot being one of the lots in that subdivision. That was purchased in 2020, and the new owner of that little over 12-acre lot wants to further subdivide it into two.
Correct.
Okay, is that the sequence?
Yes.
Okay, but all those subdivisions, various things they're not really associated with each other. They're all separate subdivisions which get considered on their own merit.
Correct.
Okay,
So I guess I'm really confused, but what is the variance we're seeking is to be able to go out on Peacock Lane?
Yes.
Well, if that's that's a site plan that's been done, correct?
but it didn't have, the variance that I understand it that's being requested is to have more than 12 access points on Peacock Lane, which there already happened to be 14. In, as we've looked at other things in the past, those 14 would be probably considered grandfathered in, or else maybe we find out through the history there was some other variance granted before, and maybe it had some further stipulations, which is why we are asking for the research. But this new subdivision that's being requested, in order to have the access point go to Peacock Lane, we need to grant a variance for the number of driveways. Is that right?
Yes, that's very, yes, it is confusing, because it's not like your typical variance that the ZBA is used to, where it's, from a front yard setback, or, a garage in front of a house. So under the subdivision regulations, it says that where a cul-de-sac street is authorized, which is the case here with Peacock Lane, either as permanent dead-end street or as a temporary dead-end street pending completion of a through road network, not more than 12 single-family residential lots may gain access from such cul-de-sac street. So because if this subdivision gains access from Peacock Road, now this cul-de-sac street will have 15 single-family residential lots that can gain access, as opposed to 12. So because the zoning law restricts it to 12 maximum, and it's being proposed to have this as the 15th access, there needs to be, that's why it's up for the ZBA to determine if a variance is to be granted, to allow for that deviation from the zoning law, the subdivision section.
Okay, so did you say it had to have a three-way street?
No.
What did you say before you said?
It says where a cul-de-sac street is authorized,
Yeah.
either as a permanent dead-end street
Yeah.
or as a temporary dead-end street pending completion of the through road network. I think that's what Mark was saying earlier about kind of leaving that open to be potentially connected. I guess this would still remain a dead-end road.
Yeah,
In which case the limit of 12 applies under the current subdivision law.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
are there,
the other question I have. This is something, it's just a thought that I had. I haven't looked further into it, but I do want to make sure, because I don't know if the purpose of the 12 is more of a safety question or a
Yeah,
traffic
yeah.
question. So I want to do a little bit of research just to make sure that an area variance is really the proper means to be looking at this. I just want to just do a quick dive just to, because so an area variance is really for a variance from the physical dimensions of
Right.
something. In one way, it is, it's a going from 12 to 15. It is a dimensional change, but I just want to make sure that that's the right vehicle to be doing.
because we're really, it's really not about this lot.
It's in the town, yeah. I mean, it's kind of an unusual, at least for me, when I was first reviewing this, it did seem unusual. And so I just want to just do a little bit of looking just to make sure that that the ZBA has the authority to be looking at this as an area variance.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, Kim, when I said it's really not about this lot, it's not about the setback, it's not about the configuration of the lot, whatever, it's about the number of
Road.
access points.
It's a variance from the road almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Are there other questions for thank you, everybody, for, kind of hanging in there with this discussion. Are there any other questions from other board members? If not, so Kim, do we even know enough to know, is this a type 2? Or do we
Well,
wait for some guidance from the planning board?
I would suggest, since we know it is going to be going to the planning board, I believe it might be on the August. Gretchen, did you say this was going to be on the August 1st agenda?
Yes.
So I would recommend that the planning board take the seeker, because they'll have more, especially for a subdivision, they'll have more of the planning authority anyway. So my recommendation would be that we let the planning board be lead agency for seeker.
Okay, is that something that we need to all vote on, or can we just say that we're going to do that?
No, technically, so most likely when the planning board begins to review this, they'll be doing, a lead agent circulation for lead agency, since it has both the ZBA and the planning board. And if we get that notice, we'll just confirm that, assuming that you guys are okay with it, you can just let the planning board be lead agency.
Okay. And then do we have referrals on this one?
Yes. So I guess the first question, Catherine, should be, do you have enough, would you like to determine if this application is complete
Thank you.
for the purpose of continuing its review? I think having that determination letter that answered a lot of my questions. So it's up to the board, but that kind of was my main concern.
Let's just review the things that we asked Mark for. We asked for the determination letter. We asked for the original subdivision, if that wasn't already included in that. And we asked him to see if he could find something on the subsequent 1990 subdivision. I think those were the primary things that we asked him for. Do you remember anything else, Kim?
I had asked for the new subdivision, which might be included in the package, but just if you could resubmit that, the latest one, the 2020 subdivision ones, and which would be both, Mark, if you could, if it's possible, I think what would be most helpful is if we could have both the subdivision map and the resolutions approving it, just to make sure that there's not any additional conditions that we should be aware of.
Okay.
Okay, great. I feel like if we have all that material given to us, that we could deem this complete. Do I have a second?
Can I just add one more thing? Are we still looking for how we got from 12 to 14 lots?
That's one of the, we're gonna be looking
Okay,
at
yes.
the original and then the 1990, if we can find
Yes.
any information on that.
Right. Then yes, Catherine, I'll be with you.
Okay,
Yeah, so the motion is accept the application as complete, subject to the materials that were just enumerated.
yes. So.
So you have a second with Richard.
I have a
Yes.
second with Richard, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we know, Tim, Econopoli, were you in favor?
No, I'm not in favor of accepting the application as is.
Okay. So I guess we have, can you say why, Tim? What else you would?
Well, I'd like to see, I mean, for that information, instead of waiting for the next meeting to get that information and deciding on that at that meeting, I would like to have that information up front.
So you can declare the application incomplete for the moment.
Yeah.
Being that I don't think that's going to really set back the applicant, since they haven't even gone in front of the planning board. So you can also, Tim, if you would like, well, you do technically have a quorum, but would you like to open discussion?
Would I like to open? Well, the issues I have are, there's a lot of unanswered questions. And depending on how those questions are answered, they might not do it. And so what we're saying is that to put that the application is complete, minus this stuff, it just seems like a lot of information that we don't have, that we should have to determine if the application is complete or not.
Tim, I agree with you.
Okay. So then I think we've now been swung in our opinions. I can certainly say that I've been, that makes sense, Tim, and given that it hasn't gone before the planning board yet. Because Kim, you were also going to look at whether the area variance was the way for us to go, which is another open question that could be maybe more substantial than we think. So I think where we've come out then, based on the discussion, is that we will wait to get this additional information and look at this again at our August meeting.
Sure. So I would have a motion to just declare it incomplete, subject to, and then ask the applicant to provide that information that was enumerated so that we can review that.
Okay, so I make a motion, second motion, that we view this as incomplete and wait for the additional information that was asked for, and also gives Kim time to do look into whether the area variance is the proper approach.
I'll second.
Okay,
And for Mark to research.
yes,
Yes, Mark.
yes, to provide the other stuff that we talked about. Okay, all in favor?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, now, I,
In favor.
Tim and Tim, are you in favor with?
Yes, I.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I think with that, I happily. Oh, except we do need to figure out, as we go forward on this, do we need to figure out who's gonna write this?
Well, let's.
Well, you haven't accepted it yet.
Yeah,
so.
it hasn't been
We'll just
accepted
wait.
yet. So.
Okay, great.
So the record, just to show that Scott has joined the board again.
I have come back. All right, so we have one public hearing, and that's case number 1028, Rugies, concerning various sign issues. Is there anyone here from the public? It doesn't look like there's anybody here from the public with regard to this application, but despite that fact, if the applicant could just go over the proposal and the various variances sought. And then I do want to talk a little bit about some interesting referral letters that we've received, which I assume the applicant has gotten as well. So anyway, if you could just take it away and just briefly go over the application.
Yeah, I'm
What you're
just pulling
seeking.
up the PowerPoint for you,
Okay.
if you want to go through that.
We could probably, Kim, we could probably just use the additional material that was submitted for this evening. It's just the 3 plan sheets.
Do I have those? Were they on the? I looked on the the Google Drive. I didn't see anything new, and I apologize if I missed that. Was this submitted last time by any chance? Like the map set?
This was submitted, I believe, on 7/5, a 3-sheet plan set. And if we need to, we can immediately email that to you. And I do believe the digital submission was provided as well.
Yeah, I apologize if I missed that. Would you mind
It's okay.
sending that to me again?
Not at all. Did we send that to Kim? In the meantime, if it's okay, I'll just go ahead and get started.
Sure.
Good evening, Seth Stickle with Mark Rominski, PELS PC. Here this evening to discuss the sign permit application and variances for the sign permit application, representing Rugies 9G Properties LLC. As you know, we had talked about this pretty extensively at the last meeting. I will try to be a little bit more brief, but I will cover all of the same topics. Just I believe there might have been a few board members that weren't there at that time. The overall parcel is actually 2 parcels totaling 138.744 acres. And that is located at, the subject parcel is located at 3718 Route 9G. It's the former stamp facility. It's located on the east-northeast side of Route 9G. Rugies has been working for several years, 2 to 3 years, on rezoning this piece of property to allow the use for motor vehicle repair and service establishments. It's now section 12568 ZZ. This is part of a larger development plan to alleviate some of the service vehicle impacts to the locations that Rugies has throughout both the town and the village. This specific application is for part 1 of phase 1 of the development. Rugies is proposing 3 types of signage: a freestanding monument sign, building and wall mounted signs, and safety and directional signage. The freestanding monument sign is proposed to be double-sided. It is going to be in place of the existing 3 signs along Route 9G. There are 2 billboard signs and an existing monument sign. So the proposed monument sign, as I mentioned, was double-sided. It's a total of 84 square feet. It is proposed to be downlit with 2 RAB 13-watt L Goose LED fixtures. The mounting height maximum for those fixtures, the pole goes up and bends over, is 11 feet. The fixture height itself will be 9 feet 10 inches. The proposed building signs, there are 4 of them. One is a Rugies sign. The other one is for Subaru service and express, and then service as well. Those building mounted signs are proposed to be located on the western facade of the building to be renovated. There's an addition that will be placed on the south end of that building.
No, you eat it.
Might be helpful just to see a little bit of this. So the second sheet would be great, Kim, if you have the ability to pull that one up.
Yep, I'm just waiting for it to load.
Yeah, Seth, while we're waiting for that, just on the first, the monument sign, as I understand it, removal of the 2 billboards and the existing monument will be a decrease. The new proposed monument sign will be a decrease in size when compared to the existing 2 billboards and monument sign. Is that right?
That is correct, and we've gone ahead and totaled up that signage on the tables for you to try to make it. There's a lot going on here, just to make it a little bit easier to digest and understand. So the existing signs that are the 2 billboards are 70 square feet each, and the existing freestanding monument sign is approximately 49 square feet. So that totals up to over, looks like about 190 or so square feet, and we're asking for 84 square feet of signage along Route 9G.
Yeah, so it's a reduction of, over 105 square feet, something like that.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
And it is important to note that sign along Route 9G will be the most visible sign for this property. The majority of the other signage is interior to the property, both directional and building mounted, with substantial screening over a 200-foot buffer from Route 9G, which is a requirement for this zone and this use. So building signage as well, as we're just discussing, proposing the 4 building signs you'll see in the upper left-hand corner of the sheet that's displayed now. Those are located, as I had mentioned, on the western facade. The signs are mounted on that building because of the way the building is laid out, just around 17 feet in height, a little bit below that, between 15 and 17 feet. As a result, we're proposing downlighting with 5 RAB 13-watt L-Goose LED fixtures. And the maximum mounting height for those fixtures, the top of the curve, is 18 feet 2 inches, and the actual fixture height is mounted at 17 feet. The directional and safety signage, which is mostly noted here on this sheet in the bottom left-hand corner, is various signage that's necessary for both directional safety and some kind of government requirements. So we have stop signs, do not enter sign, an exit sign, customer directional signs, as well as handicap signs. The total signs that are proposed at this site are 183.13 square feet. All of the existing signage is proposed to be removed from the site, and that's 241.39 square feet. So overall, this proposal is a reduction in signage. Thankfully, Grant and Lyons was able to review this application because the way that the signage code is written, as well as this proposed use on this site, does require multiple variances, which have been outlined by Kim. I believe that now totals 12. We can go through each one of those individually, but I don't know if we've received any kind of a summary from Grant and Lyons on what those are that you have discovered and how they might be different from what we had proposed at the last meeting. So maybe, actually, Kim, it might be best if you were to maybe go through those.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry if I missed that. So if you, they're actually, Seth, they actually are the ones that you have provided. The only real difference was that for the directional signs, where section 12537K2C says that internal direction signs shall not be more than 2 square feet on each 2 sides. And we, I spoke with John at Grant and Lyons, and being that you have 5 directional signs that exceed the 2 square feet, we really thought that it was appropriate to say that those are 5 different variances. So that's why it's the same section. It just has to be applied 5 times because they're 5 different signs.
Understood.
So I'll go through them, but they are actually the same ones that you had discussed. And it's just a matter of just determining if, because sometimes in the sign regulation, a particular section has like several parts to it, and there's a variance needed for each of those parts. So the first one is section 12537 K2A, which is saying that the primary freestyle identity sign shall not exceed 12 square feet. It's proposed to be 84 square feet, and so the variance requested is 72, which is what you have indicated that. Section, and if you want me to, sorry, I'm a little scattered. Do you want me to go back to any pages to show you what I'm referring to? On
Do you have a page of text, Kim, that you could display? For what
yeah. Hold on. It's got to find it. Probably the best thing that I would show you would be the public hearing notice, which kind of sets forth all of that.
okay.
Pull
Right.
that up.
It helps me to take it in if I'm also.
Yeah,
We
It's
did
a lot.
attach it. We did attach it to our last submission as part of the application for the area variance. It is attached to that as well, Kim, if that's helpful.
yeah. I got it. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and then share a new screen. Okay. So the first variance is the freestyle identity sign, as I shall not exceed 12 square feet. This proposes 84 square feet, so the variance is 72. Then for section 125-37, so section 125-37 is the sign regulations. And then subsection K is kind of the design standards. And then these are just subsections within there. So subsection 2A says that primary identity wall signs located on the establishment's principal facade shall not exceed 1 square foot per 6 linear feet of the building's frontage. So the building frontage was 72 linear feet, as was provided by the applicant. So 72 divided by 6 would be 12, which means that under the sign regs, you could have 12 square feet for the wall sign. And the applicants are proposing 56.9 square feet. So the variance is 44.96 for the wall signs. And Seth, the wall signs, those are the ones that are on the building, like the Rugies and the.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And is there anything being removed that's currently there? Is there like a stamp sign, that kind of thing?
There is an existing stamp sign which is being removed. Yes. Would you like to know the square footage of that?
Yeah, I would love to. You read my mind.
Just down here, the table, please.
I just want to see if what you're proposing is equivalent or less than what exists.
C2, next one. Bear with me just one moment. Excellent. What was it? It's here, building and wall signs. So the existing stamp ink signs, and the way that we had done the calculation for this is based on the lettering, and that's 11.5 square feet. So this is an increase in ask.
Okay.
So then another requirement of the sign regulation is that there shall be no more than 2 primary signs permitted per establishment, which includes 1 freestanding identity sign and or 1 identity wall sign. So what's being proposed is that there would be 5 total primary signs, which is 1 freestanding identity sign, that's the 84 square foot one, and then 4 identity wall signs, which is the 56.96. So the variance is for 3 additional wall signs. And then for the primary wall signs, which I had just discussed, it's a maximum total signage of 30 square feet. And so with the 84 plus the 56.96, that amounts to 140.96 square feet total. So a variance is requested for 110 feet, 0.96 square feet. Let's see. Then the part of the sign regulations is that there shall be 1 sign. For the number of internal directional signs, there shall be one sign at each point of access. So there should be one directional sign. 16 are proposed, so that's 15 additional signs for the variance. This is what I was talking about with the individual directional signs. They're meant to be 2 square feet on each 2 sides. There are 5 that the stop sign, the delivery vendors, customer parking, service entrance and do not enter that exceed that 2 square foot limit. So since those are individual signs, that's 5 individual variances. Then under 12537K3, it says that freestanding sign shall not exceed 6 feet in height. So the freestanding sign that there is being proposed is 9 foot 10 inches. And the variance is therefore requested for 3 feet 10 inches. And I believe you said, Seth, that there's a freestanding sign that will be removed, correct?
That is correct. Yep. And that existing freestanding monument sign is 48.89 square feet.
Okay, and then the last one, it's actually part of that same section, the 125-37K3, which also requires that freestanding signs shall not be located closer to 20 feet to any property line. This one would be 0.82 feet. So the variance is required of 19.18. And again, Seth, you did actually mention this in your last presentation. It's just the way that it's worded, it's really 2 different variances because it's 2 different requirements of that same section.
Excellent. I appreciate you going through that exercise. I was double checking along the way to make sure. So that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yep, yep.
I want to bring this up because, you know, it is important. If we could go back to sheet 2, please, Kim.
Yep.
So we may have one more that has not been identified, and that would be the fixture mounting height for the gooseneck fixtures for the wall mounted signs. The fixture mounting height is above 15 feet. Greater than 15 feet. We are asking for that fixture mounting height to be 17 feet. And the maximum height of a fixture, I believe, is 15 feet. And I don't have that code reference, but I may have placed that in our cover letter.
Is that from the lighting regulation?
That is correct.
Okay, I'll verify that.
So we're looking at 13 variances.
That is correct. So that was my, kind of trying to be brief summary of this application. Does anyone have any questions or have any additional information they'd like to hear?
I guess my thing is, and you can guess what my thing is I kind of want to have a comparison of what exists and what, and is going to be removed versus what is proposed. And because to me, that's helpful, especially like, for example, the primary freestyle identity sign, it's 84 square feet proposed, and it's going to be in lieu of what exists now, which is basically 189 feet. And that's important to know. And I was just wondering if you had information as to the other items that we have not discussed as to what exists, if there's something that does exist, whether there's a reduction or an increase.
Certainly do. Actually, the third sheet on this set is a comparison of existing and proposed signs. Kim had asked us to prepare this previously. So this is a side-by-side based with location, identifying all of those things that you were requesting, Scott.
Okay.
Let's see. Know if it's possible to enlarge that.
Yep.
Yeah. And
See where that, I'm sure I have it somewhere in this mess.
no problem. Understood. It is sheet 3 in our latest submission set. So it's dated 7/5/22.
Right, I have that. I believe you.
No worries. It is, because of everything that's going on here, it is nice to have this as a comparison. So on the left, what we're seeing at the top of the screen here is the proposed new freestanding monument sign with light fixtures. What we're looking at on the right-hand side is the existing freestanding monument sign, which has uplighting from the ground on both sides and is also double-sided. And then as well along Route 9G, you have two 70-square-foot billboard signs, one on the north end and one on the south end of the entrance.
So
that-
Seth, where is this, so there are there a total currently of 3 monument signs? Or, oh, it's 2 billboards and 1 monument sign
Right.
currently on the property.
Correct.
And the monument sign you're proposing is going to be replacing the current monument sign.
It will be replacing the current monument sign in a different location.
Different location. Okay.
The existing monument sign, freestanding monument sign, is almost 10 feet or 12 feet over the property boundary in the New York State DOT right of way.
Okay.
So we're opting to remove it from the DOT right of way and place it adjacent to the entrance, because the entrance needs to be reconfigured for the DOT. And it won't have a center island in it anymore. So placement of that sign so that it's viewable in both directions, north and south, was important to the client. So we have moved that to the north, approximately 50 feet and up in elevation slightly. That placement is so that it can be viewed in both directions. And the reason that we're asking for the variance of a freestanding monument sign is supposed to be 20 feet from a property line. We're asking for it to be a foot from the property line because of a couple of reasons. One being that there's a mandate for this zone and this use in this zone to have a 200-foot natural buffer maintained on all of the roadways. That's both Middle Road and 9G. So by moving it closer to the property line, we're able to maintain that buffer area, that 200-foot natural vegetated buffer area. If we were to move it to 20 feet back, in order to make it visible in the north and south directions, there would be a substantial amount of removal of that required natural buffer. So that's the justification for the placement of the sign.
Did you receive a copy of the Dutchess County Planning Board referral response?
Absolutely did.
Okay, because they had mentioned talked about potentially moving the monument sign to another location. Did you have any, is that what, I don't know, I can't remember exactly where they had stated, but.
I don't remember the language exactly either. They had many comments. I wasn't sure when Scott was going to introduce that and for discussion, but we
Sure,
can
yeah,
certainly
we can hold off on that. I just because we were talking about placement of the monument sign.
Understood. If it's appropriate now, that's fine, Scott. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find it in the county's referral. Is that what you're talking about, Kim?
Yes.
Yeah.
You want me to put that up? Would that maybe be?
Yeah,
easy?
that's fine. I got to say that the response from the planning board and from the county was two of the most unusual responses I've seen in almost 20 years of doing this.
Hold on 1 second. Gotta find it.
We also did have a meeting with the planning board just recently for referral to this board, and they did bring up letters as well, and it was discussed.
I mean, ultimately, what they say is they leave it up to us to decide anyway. But
a matter of local concern.
A matter of local concern, exactly. But just they talk about it being excessive and all kinds of different things in their comments and under action, et cetera. And then they just say, "Oh, it's up to you guys." Oh, there we go.
Here's the comment. It says the proposed monument sign is much larger in both sign area and height than what is necessary to communicate this business to the public. The sign's proposed location, approximately 75 feet north of the driveway and elevated 10 feet above grade, puts it out of the standard sight line of drivers passing by and might explain why the applicant has proposed a sign that is excessively large compared to what is permitted. The applicant might consider a different location for the sign, closer to grade and more visible to drivers, such as on the southern side of the access drive. In addition, the sign area could be reduced by eliminating duplicative text. Instead of reiterating each of the services that are offered by the service center, the applicant could simply list which vehicle brands are serviced under Rudy's Service Center. Then it just ends by says, we find the building mounted signs and internal directional signs to be a matter of local concern because they will not be visible from Route 9G. And the recommendation is that the department recommends that the board rely upon its own study of facts in the case with due consideration with the above comment. So I just want to just state though that, so the sign regulations for Rhinebeck, you know, they are thorough. As you saw, you know, sometimes different sentences have two different requirements within it, but what the board has to be looking at is what is currently proposed, or what the current regulations are in comparison to what is being proposed. You know, the board is a quasi-judicial board, and you know, if the sign regulations were to be changed, it would have to be changed at the town board level as a legislative matter and as a policy matter.
Right, and that's kind of hinted at in the planning board's referral letter back to us, talking about the potential inadequacies of the law, but that's not what we're here to determine, and us making some kind of recommendation to the town board down the road. You know, we have what we have, which unfortunately necessitates 13 variances, and again, they leave it to us in our discretion to figure this out. I guess my thing, is there going to be another a variance request?
That certainly sounds like they would need it for the lighting.
For the lighting.
Mm-hmm. I haven't reviewed that particular section, but it sounds right.
Seth, can I ask you just a quick question? If we continue the meeting,
The public hearing.
the public hearing, excuse me, the public hearing, would that in any way impact the time frame, for this whole project? I mean, I presume it probably does not, but I'd like to have all the variances out there. If there's another variance, it should be, and I'm not blaming you because this is a very complex application, but it seems to me that we should have that third variance in place before we close a public hearing and have the public, even though there's nobody here, be able to consider that third variance.
Appreciate the consideration, and no, there won't be any impact. The way that the planning board has scheduled us to hear this, I don't believe it's starting until either mid-August, or it could even be September. So we don't have any issues, and we are, concurrently submitting to both boards,
Right.
as usual.
Yeah, and Scott, just to be fair to the applicant, so they had initially proposed uplighting. Initially, if I recall, and Seth and Mark, you can correct me. It was later determined, and the applicant found this as well, that uplighting is prohibited unless it's for flags. They had a discussion with the zoning enforcement officer, and so that's why the downlighting is being proposed now. So that is an addition from what was initially proposed to be compliant, partially compliant, I suppose, to allow downlighting, but the height is now needs another variance for that.
Is there any way we can ask the owner of the property to go back and reduce everything a little bit?
to reduce this, to try to reevaluate their design?
I just feel like there's an awful lot of signage.
Well, the board did do that for Brookmead, if you will recall. So, you know, you can certainly ask the board or the applicant to consider it. You know, the applicant doesn't have to, but if they don't, then you as the board will be reviewing the signs, you know, all 13, you know, in accordance with the 5 variance factors. And if you think that they are, that the balancing doesn't meet them with the current design, it might be denied. The variances might be denied.
With regard to the identity sign, I mean, to me, that's a reduction already from what exists. And then, you know, as far as the 4 signs on the face of the building, I don't know that can be reduced. It seems like there's a lot of directional signs, but I don't know if that's required by some other law that you have that many. And, you know, maybe that's an area where you can reduce down, you know, the number of signs. But again, we haven't been on site, so I honestly don't know whether that's feasible or not. Seth, maybe you can speak to that.
You know, the current proposal is for the type of sign that is proposed. You know, I guess I would just maybe ask for some guidance on what it would be considered that we'd be looking to reduce. It seems to me, based on county planning's letter and just comments and meeting with this board a few times, that you know, the pylon, I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. The freestanding monument sign located on 9G is the one of most concern in its size and location. I don't know if that's the case, but I'd look for some guidance from the board on this. The majority of all of the remainder of the signage is not visible from any street and only visible interior to the property.
Yeah.
Does the board have any discussions on that?
My feeling on this is not that what's being requested is so excessive. It's just that the law is so inadequate, which necessitates this. That's kind of the way I feel. But again,
so
I'm willing to. I'd like to hear what the rest of my board members think. I mean, I don't find, you know, the proposal excessive. It's just I find that the law is just inadequate and necessitates the number of the variances. But that's my personal opinion.
Didn't we start out by? It was the presentation started out by. It's actually a reduction in the footage of signage.
Yeah.
So the existing total signage is 241.39 square feet, and the proposed signage is 183.13. So
yeah,
overall, across the site, it is a reduction.
It's approximately,
you know,
25%.
I don't know, Scott, you know, how it's done. I mean, is it too early to just have a site visit and a walkthrough and to talk about it?
No, I think what I would like to do, what I would propose, that's exactly what I would like to do, Richard, is first of all, to you know, keep the public hearing open and then get that last variance in place and have a complete list of the 13 variances. In the meantime, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for us to go out there and walk the property and get the lay of the land here.
Yeah, I think that would be that would help me tremendously. I think
it would certainly help me too.
I think it's true. I think that monument sign is the main thing. It's pretty obvious. We don't want to. I think that's the biggest thing.
I just want to remind the board too. So as you might remember, with the Brookmead sign, there was a lot of discussion and a lot of design changes because there was concern about the size of the sign, and design changes were made and adjusted by the board. And so that is something that's up for the table. Again, it's the applicant's choice if they want to design it, but they run the risk if there are concerns from the board that if those concerns aren't addressed or mitigated, if it doesn't meet the factor test or the balancing test, the board may deny the variance. The other thing the board should be considering is that in addition to the factor test, the other consideration is always, is this the minimum variance needed to accomplish the variance request? So that's another thing that the board should always be considering, and that you do always consider.
And how about other monument signs? If we're talking about monument signs, are there any in the general area, and what are their size? Is this out of whack with what exists elsewhere in the general area? By the way,
That's a good point. Yeah.
Is this staked, Mark? Is it staked out, or Seth, the
Oh, yeah.
general area?
It will be, the freestanding monument sign will be staked
Yeah.
out for our
Okay.
field visit, certainly. I'm actually considering, just trying to find a way to represent its
Me
size
too.
It's
and
height.
possibly its lettering for you guys as well. That's
Yeah, that would be
No.
excellent.
That would be really, really helpful, because I think until we see it in the situ, that we're not really gonna be able to tell very much.
understood. And speaking to neighboring and adjoining properties, along that corridor, there are several existing businesses. To the south, you have Rhinebeck Ford.
Right.
You can note,
Rugies.
I'm sorry,
Rugies.
Rugies Ford. You can note that. Yeah.
Whoops.
And you also have IXL, which is directly across to the west. They have I believe, a freestanding monument sign. I believe theirs is pole mounted. And then you also have the pizza to the north, Four Brothers as well. So those would be the comparison projects, I think, in the local area.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what their square footages are, because those are the ones that I could think of too, was the pizza place. And I don't know if aside from the pizza, that there's the cabinet place there, or kitchen place.
Right.
And then you also have IXL, and then we've had them before.
The self-storage have
You
one?
got the self-storage, that's true. You got self-storage. You've got
The dining.
Rugies Ford,
Yeah.
and then even CJ's. You got CJ's there. They have a sign out, and then you had what was the insurance company?
The insurance one.
Right down there, because that was actually before us years ago, before any of you guys were here. So there's a whole host of things, and you got the mobile station on the corner there. So I don't know how that plays in.
Well, and does the other Rugies have signs across the way?
They do.
Yeah.
Chrysler.
Yeah. So there's a lot of examples, I think, along the way that would be helpful to have the information on the size of those things, to see, is it comparable to what's being proposed?
That's an excellent suggestion. Yeah, I agree with that.
And one of the other things I just wanted to note is there's some uniqueness to this freestanding monument sign, in that it is proposed for multiple businesses in phased development. Right now we're just focused on phase one, which is Subaru's service. To come in the future, maybe, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, just down the road, maybe moving their service facilities here. Ford may also be moving its facilities here. So those are the placeholders that we show on our sign that will be blank now, but in the future, may be required. So we're talking about multiple businesses, not just one on a location. So I just think that's, just for consideration.
Well, that's kind of analogous to Brookmead, actually, where they had these 4 different entities that they felt like they had to represent.
Understood.
And it's, truthfully, the lettering's not very readable when you're driving by.
Well, you know what, I got to say that. I mean, I think Tim Econopoli was the lead on that, and I think the design certainly was improved from what was first given to us. However, I agree with Catherine. I drive by there all the time. You can't really see it very well. It has to be a certain size before you can to see it when you're going by at 35, or actually it's 45 through there.
And this road is 55.
And that road is 55.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a relationship between speed limit and what you're gonna be able to
100%.
read. you know?
Right, exactly. And, you don't want people slowing down and causing problems because they can't read the sign. Anyway, that's just,
Yeah, no, you're right.
all right, let me, I think everybody's head hurts right now. So
Sorry.
maybe the best thing to do is to, keep the public hearing open. You can, just do the slight amendment on adding the new variance. And then in the meantime, and we'll put this on for a continuation of the public hearing for August. And in the meantime, maybe we can have a joint excursion. I think all 5 of us probably want to come out there and take a look. And that's
Yeah.
probably most convenient for you guys. And in the
Absolutely.
meantime, maybe you can do something with actually finding out the information on the other signs in the area, but also maybe somehow concocting I don't know, some kind of facsimile or something kind of sign to give us an idea of what we're looking at as far as that monument sign.
Sure, and I think overall size and then maybe lettering size are important.
Yeah. Anybody have any other things they'd ask of Seth or Mark to help
I
us
think-
understand this better?
I think the square footage of some of those other signs, IXL and the pizza joint and the insurance, what that square footage is compared to what is being proposed, I think is very important.
And I think it's very important too, because, part of our consideration obviously is what's the neighborhood like? Is it
Yeah,
be comparable to what's in the neighborhood? Does it
Well,
blend in with the neighborhood? If you have a bunch of tiny signs in the big one, it doesn't. But if there's a bunch of signs of similar size or bigger, I think that's an important consideration.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so is everybody had enough?
yes.
Okay. I'm just, Kim, I presume I'll make a motion that
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
we continue the public hearing, to be to August 17th,
yep,
17th, 2022.
Yep.
Okay, do I have a second?
Yeah,
Second,
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, for the record, all of the board members have voted in the affirmative. So we're going to put the matter over, and we're going to keep the public hearing open until August 17th. In the meantime, we'll schedule a, I think probably all 5 of us, this kind of
I'd like to
project.
go. I'd like to go.
Everybody like to go?
yeah, I'd like to go.
What works best for you guys? A weekend?
weekends.
Typically, this board, I believe, that works on the weekend, so
Yeah.
So we'll
we'll
accommodate.
accommodate this board. Yeah.
All right, so we'll try to do it a Saturday, maybe Gretchen, I don't know if do you want to coordinate? How did we do it with the last time we had the 5 of us go out on a field trip?
Jim Levy did it, when we were at on the
Right.
river.
all right.
But however you want, Gretchen, or she can just contact us. Or
Why don't we do this? I'll have Gretchen, maybe you can contact all the board members and see what weekends work. And if we can pick out a weekend, a Saturday or whatever, and then we'll contact you guys to see if it makes sense for you. And
okay,
hopefully get the field trip done, site visit before the next meeting.
great, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Great.
All right.
Appreciate your comments and time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that does it for our agenda this evening. Anybody have anything else they want to discuss?
Oh, one
Comments,
thing.
concerns? Catherine?
Not a discussion. I just wanted to thank everybody for the discussion on the venture mirror. And I think that was a better decision. So Kim and Tim and everybody, thanks for your input on that.
No problem.
Yeah, and we're not supposed to agree on everything. I mean, you're supposed to talk your conscience. So if you disagree, you disagree, and that's great. That's what we're here for, is a good, respectful back and forth, and that was great.
Well, yeah, I no longer disagree on that. Tim brought up a very good point, and it was a good discussion, and he was
Yeah.
right. I think we made the right decision.
Yeah, and you kept your minds open, which is great. And that's the important thing. We keep our minds open because the other person may be right.
One thing, if this could happen, I'm working up in Amsterdam. So if I could be told like the Friday before the meeting, if it's going to be virtual or not, that would be great.
So Tim, we'll do our best. So
Okay.
here's the thing.
Yes.
And thank you for bringing it up because I wanted to address this anyway. So the virtual meetings are currently extended until August 13th. That
Mhm.
is a Saturday. So
Oh,
I have not had, it seems like when these emergency executive orders were issued, they were kind of issued a few days before they were set to expire.
okay.
In my opinion, they have been reissued like the day of or after. So it's been very hard to keep up with it. So we will certainly keep our eyes and ears open.
Okay.
I'm worried if it's on a Saturday, it might not be posted until the next business day. But, Gretchen and I have both been keeping our eyes and ears open. Gretchen was actually the one who found that it had been extended to the 13th. So hopefully we'll keep on track for that, and then we'll certainly
No,
issue it as
understand.
soon as we can know.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I understand.
And Gretchen did inform me too, and Gretchen, you can chime in if I'm misspeaking, but so that week, so if it is in person, if it's not extended, it will be at the village town hall, because the town hall will be there will be a voting going on. So it will actually be in another location, the village town hall.
It may not be at the village if they don't approve our request. They haven't approved it yet, so.
Okay.
If it's
So
not, I'm not sure where it'll be.
we will do our best to let everybody know ahead of time with proper notice.
Unbelievable. All right.
But hopefully, I mean, well, I don't know if I want to say hopefully it will be extended, because that means we're still in this pandemic,
I'm
but
pretty confident it's going to be extended. I mean, with the numbers, the way they're going.
Yeah, I think so.
I would,
Great.
yeah, we're doing our best to keep the public as informed as we know the knowledge, but we will certainly, as soon as that information is available for the public, it will be posted on the website. So
Sure.
just keep an eye out.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody, for a great meeting. And with that, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, gang. We'll
Bye all.
see you probably at a site visit in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care, everybody. Have a good night.
Night.
Thanks, Kim.
Good night,
Thanks,
guys.
Gretchen.